Yes, they are lying to you, and I will show you why I think that is, and you draw your own conclusions. Let's pretend for a second you're in the market for a new car. And in fact, I tell you that I have that very car that you're in the market for. And you show up to take a look under the hood, and you realize that this car obviously has been through an accident and it is obviously going to have issues in the future. In fact, you look at the registry, you realize exactly what happened. The car have been through an accident, all nice and dandy. Now, would you believe me if while I'm trying to offer you that car, I will actually tell you that once you purchase this car will become better somehow and will drive better and somehow will not have these issues that it has right now under my possession. Would that make any sense? Probably not. But as the seller, that's probably what I wouldn't do for you, right? Now, I want to point out a couple of things that are happening right now in the market. Almost this magician effect. Everybody are hyper preoccupied right now with the revision of the U.S. payroll of the 800,000 and then some, which is the largest since 2009. Um, this is not good. Obviously, it's not representative of anything good, but I will say that this is not the end of all things, and there are things that you should be worried a lot more about. Something just for you to look at, right? If you notice this chart, what you're going to realize, and again, everybody's hyper preoccupied with the Fed right now. What the sentiment of the Fed? Are they going to do rate cuts? And of course, people's assumption that once we have rate cuts, the market will rally upwards. But my argument here that you should look at history and you should learn from history. And if we're going to look at history, what we're going to find out that every time we had difficult recessionary times, we would every time we had, for example, if we're looking at the dot-com crash, what we're going to realize. I'm going to bring up another chart for you to see the thing a little bit better, just so you can see it. So during the dot-com correction, for example, while the Fed were cutting, in fact, 13 rate cuts, you'll realize that the market has corrected downwards 51%. During the housing crisis, 2007 8, 10 US Fed rate cuts, and what you got there is 58% correction on the market. We haven't seen rate cuts so far. We've been going up, and if we look at the rightmost side of the chart, we're going to realize that, of course, and we know that so far we've been having increases only all the way, and the market had rallied 57%. Now, in the context of this information, being armed with this information, I would just simply re-ask you, is that 44 correction that I'm saying that the market potentially will have sounds all that deep and all that horrible in the context of knowledge of prior history? I would argue that that's not the case. And who are these, that are lying to you, right? That kind of is the main topic of what I want to talk about. The SPX looks very choppy. We spoke about this in the live. Those who are not familiar or not aware, I do lives pretty much every day, and I will be doing one a little bit later. You're more than welcome to join. Check out our community. The links are in the description below, whether it's to Discord, Patreon, and everything else that we have. Why am I saying they're lying to you? Let's think about it. If I'm interested in selling you that car, I don't want you to think it's going to have underlying issues in the future. I want you to think it's great and it will never have any issues, right? I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be buying. Now, something that I've shown in my videos and my lives several times over, actually ignore all that mess, just to clean it all up, what we're going to realize that the market, although seems as if we've been moving on an uptrend for quite a while, the most worrisome issue here is that the stochastic RSI and other momentum indicators are pointing out on the larger time frames that we're going to go for a bigger correction. We of course know the justification and the reasoning for it, in actual real life, if it's the macroeconomics, the geopolitical unrest, the prices of oil, inflation, and everything all together. Now, remember the chart we just saw with the rate cuts. And my personal assessment that what we are seeing in visual form and will come through right here is exactly that recessionary time that we will see very, very soon. Or as to be frank, we're all already in some would argue. and it will take a little, of course, a while, and the correction might be deep. My argument that the correction will be somewhere along the lines of, just to show you my perception. Of course, it's not just my personal opinion, not financial advice. You do you. I'm thinking we will see the market correct roughly, give or take, into that area that I'm pointing at right now, which is, as you saw, roughly about 41, 42, 43, potentially 44%. That's kind of the range I'm expecting the market to correct to. I know it sounds insane, but remember, in the context of the chart I showed you before, that when the Fed are getting prepared to do rate cuts, what you actually get in the market is a crash. And in the context of 58%, that doesn't sound all that horrible. Now, let's get back to the who's lying. If you pay attention to what has been going on a smaller time frame, I'm going to do this on the 5 minutes just so it's going to be a little bit more comprehensive. Notice what's happening. So there is a sell-off that is being done, in my humble opinion, by the institutions, the larger players. They are selling off, and you guys are buying back everything all the way to the top, allowing them to sell at these very same highs. They, of course, abuse the narrative. You guys are believing in more of a bullish sentiment, ignoring the signs, and hence allowing them to sell to you again pretty much at very similar highs, and still retaining the proper structure of the harmonic movements that are expected by the technical analysis, which accommodates the further movement downwards, which is a very interesting, it's a self-perpetuating or self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. And they are accommodating it is while accommodating that structure while it's being built in live. So in my assessment, there's a good reason why the talking heads of the media, of course, I hate to sound conspiratorial, but we understand that a lot of these people are friends with each other, work with each other in one capacity or another, hang out, eat lunch together and whatnot. And don't be surprised if those who know allow these who can to abuse this moment, if you will, and convince you to see or to think otherwise than what the market is potentially going to do. Why? Because it's beneficial for them. And if you're going to be objective about it, as we said, they cannot come out and tell you everything is going to be bad, because the market at the end of the day is a zero-sum game. And if they'll come out and honestly will tell you, look guys, we believe far more, it is far more probable, and we believe that there will be a deeper correction in the market, you will not be buying. You will not be allowing them to relieve themselves from that pressure of holding the portfolios they have, basically, and having a potential big drop on their already existent ROIs. And for them to unload that, you guys need to believe that at the end of the day, it all comes down to what we call the greater fool theory. Why? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you will not be buying if you will not believe that you can sell it to somebody else at a higher price. It will simply not make sense to you. So my assessment is that the market is going for a very deep correction. I've kind of given the numbers here. Of course, join our community and follow my lives that I do pretty much every day to be a little bit more in the know and understand why my assessments are as such. What I think I've done, I've shown what I wanted to show in this video. You all have a wonderful weekend. I hope to make more videos soon. Join me on the live today later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.